You're on.
Excellent, thank you. So this slide that is going to be coming up here, actually, the title of the slide is of the whole presentation is called "Engaging Youth: A White Paper on Alberta's Future." We're going to be, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction, and then we have some students who are going to tell you about the work that they've done. So I'm going to set a little bit of a context here, and I'm going to say that I believe in the province of Alberta we're at, and not just the province of Alberta, I think all across the planet that we are at a crossroads. And this is an extremely exciting time for us to be gathering and for us to be engaging youth. And I'm going to talk about two factors here. I think that there's a number of world events that are going on that are unique and that our youth see that's happening. And then we have a reaction in terms of the culture that's helping to create and empower the youth to engage in those. So we look across the world and we see some adults that are maybe having a little bit of a difficult time coming to consensus. We see some world crises that are happening in unprecedented manners. I was just at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change, and we're talking about in the hundreds of millions of climate refugees who are going to be making their way across countries in the very near future. We have walls that are being built that are separating us in a time when we need to be coming together to build consensus around some of these challenging issues. And then we have the system that is going to be fostering this generation that's going to be addressing those needs. We have a system that is not necessarily able to respond, and if you take a look at what's happening in that in particular education system, we see one that really hasn't differentiated itself very much from what was happening 10, 20, 30, or even 100 years ago. And we see young people who are looking out at this world, who are looking at the challenges that they're facing on a global scale. They're looking at the tools that they're being equipped with today, and they're feeling a sense of alienation, right? They're feeling a sense that they are not able to contribute to the system. And we see this in terms of engagement statistics, in terms of what's happening in the classroom. We see this in terms of even those people who are about to enter this next generation of the workforce, who are seeing an irrelevance from what they're having in the classroom to what they're seeing in the world that's around them. And then we come to Alberta. And I can tell you that we have, and through a partnership that we engaged with ABC Tech, engaged thousands of youth across this province who want to rise above the situations that they may find themselves, the classrooms they find themselves, the peers they may find themselves in, the global situations that are around them, and have come together in a very powerful way. And I'm going to invite two of the youth representing both big city and little city, or little town. I guess it wouldn't even qualify as a city, would it? No, what is a town? And so we're going to invite them to come up and tell us about the work that they have done to help imagine the new Alberta within this globe that we're in. That's right.
Good evening. My name is Alexandria Lamoth. I'm graduating, finishing grade 12 this month, and I attend St. Andrews in High Prairie.
Hi, my name is Badara Bakali, and I attend Queen Elizabeth High School. I'm in grade 11, and yeah, so diving right in.
Over the course of March, over 2,000 youth of Alberta from 6 communities came together to have a voice in their future. We did this by having weekly meetings over video conference to talk about the 4 key topics we were going to write about, which are voice, health and well-being, work, and community.
So the first item that we looked at is work. The youth of Alberta recognize the incredible potential that technology has to completely revolutionize the future of work in our province. However, the youth know that to successfully navigate and change workforce, we ourselves must create change. Our estimate from Shift Happens says that 65% of jobs that of students of wait, so 65% of students entering primary school today will ultimately end up working in jobs that don't yet exist. It is clear that work is evolving, and we must be prepared for future occupations. We must integrate soft skills into our education. We must look at sustainable energy beyond the traditional ways, for example, fusion energy, and we must look at the role of automation in Alberta. We also must recognize the diverse job opportunities beyond the traditional ones presented. For example, fusion worker instead of working in the oil field, or nanomedic instead of nurses. We are excited to be innovators in our province if we are equipped to succeed and meaningfully engaged. So moving on to community. Community has been one of our more complicated topics due to its complexity. So one of the first steps that we have taken in visualizing the future of community was to define community itself. To the youth, it meant a group of people who share something in common. This could be something that you share geographically, culturally, or ideologically. We envision communities of our future to be much like a patchwork quilt. Each community unique and diverse, and are all working towards the prosperity and equality of all Albertans. Now, some of the actions that we must take to have such a community is to solve a lot of the gap issues. For example, issues such as wealth gap. Stats Canada reports that Alberta is the only province which has 10% of the population owning half of the income of Alberta. We as the youth wish to live in a future where all communities are connected and are working to shape a happier and stronger Alberta.
The third item we looked at was health and well-being. The youth of Alberta see the potential of new technologies to improve health and well-being of Albertans, but are fully aware of the challenges to health presented by problems like addiction and environmental change. Technologies as complex as gene editing capabilities of CRISPR and as simple as biomonitoring of a Fitbit present limitless potential to improve health while forcing us to wrestle with moral and ethical questions that speak to the basic values of our society. Similar questions underlie Alberta youth concerns around drug addictions. Current trends in overdose deaths are potentially catastrophic for the future of Alberta. We know that the approach to a solution must come through understanding and research rather than stigma and punitive measures. Long-term studies are also vital for the knowledge required to mitigate the negative effects of climate change on health. And an approach based on understanding rather than stigma must be developed for mental health to ensure a positive future for all Albertans, especially those families we may never meet, but those who we must certainly touch. The final item we looked at was voice. The Voice of Alberta are happy to be here in front of you today and also in spirit to share our voice. However, we believe that many youth do not participate in opportunities such as this to express ourselves, and this concerns us. There are an abundance of youth excited and ready to engage in their community, to come to the table, but lack the resources and support to do so. And in the future, we hope to change that so the lack of resources is not the obstacle that keeps our voices silent. As youth are often on the forefront of many trends, fashion, music, art, and of course social networking, we have a wide range of platforms that use to share ideas and thoughts on, and even past these trends such as politics, the environment, and the economy. We are eager to take advantage of opportunities to share our voice, not only in the public sphere, but in the industrial one as well.
As we look to the future and the future of our province, there is a call to the voice of we, the youth. We are passionate, driven, and if given a chance, have the potential to become leaders in this province and integral members of determining our future.
As I said at the beginning of this presentation, I truly believe that we are at a time of a crossroads. I believe that we have an opportunity to move education, to move youth engagement beyond merely sitting back and consuming what is being given. I think that for a lot of times in our schools and in our societies, we're training young people to sit back and consume. And rather than to be at opportunities like this in which they're given the chance to co-create their future, right? And I think that these are the opportunities and the path that we find ourselves. For the final word, I'm going to pass it back over to our youth to end the presentation on the paper they've created.
This writing paper has given a voice to us, the youth of Alberta, in guiding the future of our province. We want to create positive change for ourselves and our children, and with the technology and skills we have now, we can. Alberta's youth don't just shape the future, we are the future. And on behalf of the youth of Alberta, we bring our voice to the table. Thank you.
And so we open it up. Are there any questions that you have for ourselves?
How do they get a copy of the paper?
All right, well, how do you get a copy of the paper? Well, it was literally hot off the press today. We have a few copies that are here. There's a couple more edits that have to do. Again, there's 2,700 youth who participated, over 2,700, who participated in this, and the data from their visions of the future is there to be shared, as well as some infographics in terms of how they perceive the future to unfold as well. So the paper will be coming out. It's going to be available through ABC Tech. So that's the first place to start in order to get your hands on that paper. Yes?
How did the rest of us who haven't heard about this initiative yet get involved? Are there events? Is there a way that we can support?
That is such a great question. We are our first. Thank you. This paper here that the youth created, and I do need to qualify that this is youth under 18. I just came back from another conference, the UNESCO World Forum on Youth, and on Forum on Global Citizenship. A key component of it is to look at youth and education. Ironically, you know who's not allowed at that conference? It's actually illegal for youth under 18 to attend any of the United Nations conferences for insurance reasons. But so this one here, we deliberately engage youth under 18 in the process. This is stage one. Right, this is very general. When you take a read through here, I mean, they looked at work, they looked at voice and advocacy, they looked at communities, they looked at health and well-being. That's a massive spectrum. Our vision for the next stage is that we're going to drill down into some of these topics, right? And we're going to drill down into the solutions that are being brought forward here, some of the some of the presentations we heard earlier today, and some of the work that we've seen. But this is just stage one. And so thank you so much. The opportunities to become involved in the future are going to be facilitated through ABC Tech and as some of the other partners. But that's a good place to start. Thank you.
Surprises. Among the many surprises which we have for you today is Greg Christie, the mayor of the city of Leduc. You know why that's a surprise? Because I already brought you greetings from him, so you can just